First Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Verse 2. The descendants of Kohath included Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Verse 3. The children of Amram were Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. Verse 4. Eleazar was the father of Phinehas. Phinehas was the father of Abishua. Verse 5. Abishua was the father of Buki. Buki was the father of Uz. Verse 6. Uz was the father of Zarahiah. Zarahiah was the father of Meroith. Verse 7. Meroith was the father of Amariah. Amariah was the father of Ahitub. Verse 8. Ahitub was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Ahimaaz. Verse 9. Ahimaaz was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Johanan. Verse 10. Johanan was the father of Azariah, the high priest at the temple built by Solomon in Jerusalem. Verse 11. Azariah was the father of Amariah. Amariah was the father of Ahitub. Verse 12. Ahitub was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Shalom. Verse 13. Shalom was the father of Hilkiah. Hilkiah was the father of Azariah. Verse 14. Azariah was the father of Seraiah. Seraiah was the father of Jehozadak. Verse 15. Who went into exile when the Lord sent the people of Judah and Jerusalem into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar. Verse 16. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Verse 17. The descendants of Gershon included Libni and Shimei. Verse 18. The descendants of Kohath included Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Verse 19. The descendants of Merari included Mahli and Mushi. The following were the Levite clans listed according to their ancestral descent. Verse 20. The descendants of Gershon included Libni, Jahath, Zimah. Verse 21. Joah, Edo, Zerah, and Jeatheriah. Verse 22. The descendants of Kohath included Aminadab, Korah, and Asher. Verse 23. Elkanah, Abiasaph, Asher. Verse 24. Thahat, Uriah, Uzziel, and Shaul. Verse 25. The descendants of Elkanah included Amasai, Ahimoth. Verse 26. Elkanah, Zophai, Nahath. Verse 27. Eliab, Jeroham, Elkanah, and Samuel. Verse 28. The sons of Samuel were Joel the older and Abijah the second. Verse 29. The descendants of Merari included Mahli, Libni, Shimei, and Uzzah. Verse 30. Shimei, Haggiah, and Asaiah. Verse 31. David assigned the following men to lead the music at the house of the Lord after the ark was placed there. Verse 32. They ministered with music at the tabernacle until Solomon built the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. They carried out their work, following all the regulations handed down to them. Verse 33. These are the men who served along with their sons. Heman, the musician, was from the clan of Kohath. His genealogy was traced back through Joel and Samuel. Verse 34. Elkanah, Jeroham, Toah. Verse 35. Zoph, Elkanah, Mahath, Amasai. Verse 36. Elkanah, Joel, Azariah, Zephaniah. Verse 37. Tahath, Asher, Abiasaph, Korah. Verse 38. Izhar, Kohath, Levi, and Israel. Verse 39. Heman's first assistant was Asaph, from the clan of Gershon. Asaph's genealogy was traced back through Berechiah, Shimea. Verse 40. Michael, Baaseiah, Makijah. Verse 41. Itni, Zerah, Adiah. Verse 42. Ethan, Zimah, Shimei. Verse 43. Jahath, Gershon, and Levi. Verse 44. Heman's second assistant was Ethan, from the clan of Merari. Ethan's genealogy was traced back through Kishi, Abdi, Molach. Verse 45. Ahashbiah, Amaziah, Hilkiah. Verse 46. Amzi, Bani, Shema. Verse 47, Morley, Mushi, Merari, and Levi. Verse 48, their fellow Levites were appointed to various other tasks in the tabernacle, the house of God. Verse 49, only Aaron and his descendants served as priests. They presented the offerings on the altar of burnt offerings and the altar of incense, and they performed all the duties related to the most holy place. They made atonement for Israel by doing everything that Moses, the servant of God, had commanded them. Verse 50, the descendants of Aaron were Eleazar, Phinehas, and Abishua. Verse 51, Buki, Uz, Zerahai. Verse 52, Mearoth, Amariah, Ahitob. Verse 53, Zadok and Ahimaaz. Verse 54, this is the record of the towns and territories assigned by means of sacred lot to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the clan of Kohath. Verse 55, this territory included Hebron and its surrounding pasture lands in Judah. Verse 56, but the fields and outlying areas belonging to the city were given to Caleb son of Jephunneh. Verse 57, to the descendants of Aaron were given the following towns, each with its pasture lands: Hebron, a city of refuge; Libhah, Jadir, Ashtimoah. Verse 58, Holon, Dibi. Verse 59, In, Jothar, and Beth Sheshmesh. Verse 60, and from the territory of Benjamin they were given Gibeon, Geba, Eliameth, and Anathoth, each with its pasture lands. So the 13 towns were given to the descendants of Aaron. Verse 61, the remaining descendants of Kohath received 10 towns from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh by means of sacred lot. Verse 62, the descendants of Gershon received by sacred lot 13 towns from the territories of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and from Bashan, area of Manasseh, east of the Jordan. Verse 63, the descendants of Merari received a sacred lot, 12 towns from the territories of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. Verse 64, so the people of Israel assigned all these towns and pasture lands to the Levites. Verse 65, the towns in the territories of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin, mentioned above, were assigned to them by means of sacred lot. Verse 66, the descendants of Kohath were given the following towns from the territory of Ephraim, each with its pasture lands. Verse 67, Shechem, a city of refuge in the hill country of Ephraim; Gezer. Verse 68, Jokneam, Beth Horon. Verse 69, Ajalon, and Gath Rimmon. Verse 70, the remaining descendants of Kohath were assigned the towns of Anna and Bilem from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh, each with its pasture land. Verse 71, the descendants of Gershon received towns of Golan in Bashan and Ashtaroth from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh, each with its pasture land. Verse 72, from the territory of Issachar they were given Kedesh, Diabirath. Verse 73, Ramoth and Anem, each with its pasture lands. Verse 74, from the territory of Asa they received Mashal, Abdon. Verse 75, Hukkok and Rehob, each with its pasture lands. Verse 76, from the territory of Naphtali they were given Kadesh in Galilee, Hammon, and Kiriathnim, each with its pasture lands. Verse 77, the remaining descendants of Merari received the towns of Jokneam, Kartha, Rimmon, and Tabor from the territory of Zebulun, each with its pasture land. Verse 78, from the territory of Reuben, east of the Jordan River opposite Jericho, they received Bezer, a desert town; Jahaz. Verse 79, Kedemoth and Mephath, each with its pasture lands. Verse 80, and from the territory of Gad they received Ramoth in Gilead, Mahanaim. Verse 81, Heshbon, Jazer, and with its pasture lands. Amen.